What if the very soil beneath your feet in the British Isles remembers ancient pacts and forgotten horrors? Imagine that the stones of crumbling castles and the gnarled roots of ancient trees hold secrets whispered through millennia, secrets of a time when gods walked the land, not as benevolent deities, but as primal forces of nature, demanding reverence and often terrible retribution. Are you ready to hear the tales of a land steeped in myth, where the veil between worlds is gossamer thin, and where the echoes of old gods' wrath still reverberate through the damp earth and the swirling mists? Welcome to our world, our stories, where we unravel the forgotten rituals and the unseen wardens that guard the untamed spirit of the British Isles, a place where history isn't just recorded in books, but etched into the very landscape, in the cries of the wind and the deep, silent pools that mirror an ancient sky. Tonight we journey into the heart of an enduring mystery, where magic is not merely a fantasy, but a tangible, sometimes terrifying, presence, a part of the very fabric of existence that continues to shape destinies and haunt the dreams of those who dare to listen. Feel the chill that creeps up your spine, a coldness that isn't just the damp island air, but the touch of something vast and ancient, a presence that has watched civilizations rise and fall, preserving its own arcane laws long after humanity forgot their meaning. Let us begin our descent into the shadowed heart of the British Isles with the whispering courts of the ancient earth, a realm unseen by mortal eyes, yet profoundly felt in every rustle of the leaves and every shift of the wind across the desolate moors. For centuries before the arrival of foreign gods and the building of stone churches, the land belonged to older powers, entities known by many names: the Tuatha De Danann, the Side, the Good Folk, or simply the Fae. They were not the whimsical pixies of children's tales, but beings of immense power, beauty, and often terrifying caprice, intimately bound to the very essence of the earth, the rivers, the hills, and the deepest caves. Their courts, often hidden beneath ancient barrows or within the heart of unblemished groves, were places of breathtaking wonder and profound danger, where time itself could bend and a single night of revelry could span a mortal lifetime. Imagine yourself, if you dare, stumbling upon such a place, a circle of standing stones perhaps, shimmering with an ethereal light, or a hollow hill from which music, sweeter than any earthly melody, drifts on the night air. The very atmosphere would shift, growing heavy with the scent of wild honeysuckle and damp earth, yet charged with an electric hum of unseen energy, pulling you deeper into a realm where human rules ceased to apply, and ancient laws, older than memory, held sway. The temptation to step across the threshold, to witness the dance of the unseen, to taste their otherworldly wine, would be almost irresistible, a siren song echoing in the deepest parts of your soul. Yet, to venture uninvited into the realm of the Fae, or worse, to disrespect their sacred spaces, was to invite a wrath unlike any known to humankind, a vengeance born of elemental power and ancient, unforgiving pride. There are countless tales, etched into the oral traditions of remote villages and fishing communities, of those who transgressed and paid a terrible price. Consider the story of Elara, a young woman from the Isle of Skye, whose village had for generations observed a strict custom, never to disturb the ancient fairy mound on the western edge of their lands, especially not during the equinox. But Elara, driven by a desperate curiosity and a modern skepticism that scoffed at old wives' tales, ventured there one autumn evening, drawn by the strange, pulsating glow she saw emanating from its summit. Ignoring the whispered warnings of her grandmother, the cold dread that seeped into her bones as she approached, and the scent of wild thyme mixed with an odd, metallic tang, she sought to find the source of the light, her hand reaching out to the dewy grass that covered the mound. As her fingers brushed the earth, a sound like 1,000 tiny bells chimed in the air, followed by a sudden, bone-chilling wind that whipped around her, tearing at her clothes and filling her lungs with icy breath. The glow intensified, revealing not lights, but eyes, countless, ancient, glittering eyes, staring out from the darkness within the mound, eyes that held neither malice nor kindness, but an unnerving, ageless indifference. She didn't see the Fae themselves, not truly, but she felt their presence, a crushing weight of power that stole the air from her lungs and solidified the fear in her heart. Ilara fled, stumbling back to her village, her mind reeling, convinced she had escaped unscathed. But the Fae, unseen, had marked her. From that night onward, her reflection in any surface would subtly shift, sometimes revealing a glimpse of something other than herself, a pair of luminous, inhuman eyes staring back, or a faint, shimmering outline of another being superimposed upon her own form. Her dreams became a haunting tapestry of ethereal music and chilling laughter, of endless dances under a moon that was too bright, always just out of reach. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, the essence of her own self began to drain away, replaced by an increasing detachment, a coldness that even the warmest fire could not penetrate. Her family and friends watched in helpless horror as her vibrant spirit faded, her eyes taking on that same ageless, indifferent look she had witnessed in the mound. Ilara never spoke of what she saw or felt, for the Fae had stolen her voice, replacing it with the sound of the wind sighing through ancient stones. She became a silent sentinel in her own home, a living testament to the dangers of disrespecting the oldest powers, a chilling reminder that some boundaries are not meant to be crossed. Her story, though whispered in hushed tones, serves as a stark warning, a cautionary fable about the true nature of the land's original inhabitants and the immense, unyielding power of their ancient earth courts, forever a part of the Isle of Skye's shadowed folklore, reminding all who listen that the beauty of the wild often conceals an ancient, vigilant threat. From the ethereal whispers of the Fae, our journey takes us to the raw, enduring power of the land itself, where ancient stone structures stand as silent witnesses to rituals long forgotten, yet still potent in their spectral echo. Let us now delve into Stones That Bleed, echoes of unhallowed rites, a narrative woven around the great megalithic sites of the British Isles, places like Stonehenge and Avebury, whose true purposes remain shrouded in speculation and chilling local legends. These aren't just collections of massive rocks, they are colossal altars, astronomical observatories, and perhaps gateways to other dimensions, built by hands long turned to dust, guided by knowledge we can only glimpse through the mists of time. Imagine walking among these monolithic sentinels on a cold, moonlit night, feeling the immense weight of centuries pressing down on you. The air around them is thick, almost viscous, with the accumulated energy of countless sunrises and sunsets, of generations of human hopes and fears, and of rites performed under stars that have watched humanity evolve from hunter-gatherers to architects of steel cities. The stones themselves feel cold to the touch, yet paradoxically, they throb with a faint, almost imperceptible vibration, as if still humming with the power channeled through them by the hands of druids and shamans, priests and kings, in ceremonies whose details are now lost to the annals of recorded history, but whose essence lingers like a scent on the wind. What unhallowed rites, you might wonder, transpired within these stone circles under the vast, uncaring gaze of the cosmos? Local lore and archaeological theories often hint at sacrifices, not just of animals but of human beings, offered to appease the earth, to ensure bountiful harvests, or to channel the raw energy of the cosmos for purposes both noble and terrifying. Consider the chilling legends surrounding the Rollright Stones in Oxfordshire, where it is said that the King Stone, the tallest of the group, was once a king turned to stone by a witch, and the Whispering Knights, a cluster of stones nearby, are his treacherous knights frozen in their betrayal. But deeper, darker tales speak of a time when the King Stone would occasionally weep, not water, but blood. On the eve of the summer solstice, a viscous, dark liquid that would seep into the earth, nourishing something unseen below. Local farmers, for generations, avoided ploughing too close to the stones on those specific nights, speaking of strange, guttural sounds carried on the wind, and an inexplicable fear that would grip anyone who dared to linger. One particularly harrowing account tells of a young antiquarian in the late 19th century, a man named Elias Thorne, who, scoffing at such superstitions, decided to camp within the stone circle on a solstice night, determined to debunk the blood-weeping myth. He spoke of the bitter cold that permeated everything, even his thick woolen blanket, and a profound silence that settled upon the land, broken only by the frantic chirping of unseen crickets. As the pre-dawn light began to hint at the horizon, a deep, resonant hum started emanating from the King Stone, growing in intensity until it vibrated through Elias's very bones, rattling his teeth and blurring his vision. The air grew heavy with the scent of damp earth and something else, something metallic and profoundly ancient, a smell that turned his stomach. He watched, utterly transfixed and paralyzed by a fear he had never known, as a dark, glistening fluid began to ooze from fissures in the King Stone, slowly at first, then flowing more freely, running down its ancient face like tears of tar. But it was not tar, it was blood, thick and dark, with an almost iridescent sheen in the weak light, flowing into the earth at the base of the stone, where it was swiftly absorbed, leaving no trace. Elias recounted that as the first rays of the sun touched the top of the stone, the flow ceased and the hum faded, leaving an unnerving silence, but the metallic scent lingered, clinging to the air like a shroud. He spent the rest of his life plagued by nightmares of that night, describing an unholy hunger in the earth around the stones, a primal, insatiable thirst that demanded tribute. He became a recluse, his scholarly pursuits abandoned, haunted by the inexplicable truth of what he had witnessed, a truth that screamed of sacrifice and forgotten gods whose appetites might still stir beneath the silent stones. The Rollright Stones, like many of their megalithic brethren, stand as silent, imposing monuments not just to ancient human ingenuity, but to the potent, enduring mysteries of practices that once bound humanity to the formidable, demanding will of the earth itself, forever a place where the past feels dangerously close, ready to manifest its Unfulfilled needs. Our journey through the British Isles now leads us away from the silent, ominous grandeur of stone circles and into the shadowy depths of its wilder, untamed landscapes, where ancient primal energies still coalesce, giving rise to entities that serve as both protectors and harbingers of doom. This brings us to the Hound's silent vigil, guardians of the mist-shrouded moors, a chilling exploration of spectral beasts and their unwavering commitment to the land they oversee. Across the desolate moors of Dartmoor, the rugged highlands of Scotland, and the windswept peaks of Snowdonia, countless tales persist of spectral hounds, colossal, black-furred beasts with eyes like burning coals, their silent steps barely disturbing the heather, yet their presence sending a shiver through the bravest of hearts. These are not merely ghosts of dead animals. They are often described as embodiments of the land's fury, ancient guardians whose purpose is to protect sacred sites, punish trespassers, or even, in the darkest legends, to escort the souls of the damned. Imagine yourself lost in a thick, swirling mist on a remote moor, the kind of fog that swallows sound and perspective, leaving you utterly disoriented. You can feel the dampness clinging to your clothes, taste the metallic tang of peat in the air, and suddenly, from the oppressive silence, you hear it, a low, guttural growl that vibrates through the earth, felt more than heard, followed by the faint scent of sulphur and wet dog, an impossible combination in such a desolate place. One of the most enduring and terrifying of these legends is that of the Whist Hounds, or Hellhounds of Dartmoor, said to be led by the spectral figure of Black Shuck, or sometimes by the furious spirit of Sir Francis Drake, who, in some local versions, leads a pack of ghostly dogs on hunts across the moors. The most chilling accounts come not from sighting the hounds, but from feeling their presence, a crushing weight of unseen malice that settles upon the lone traveller. Consider the harrowing experience of Thomas Griffith, a shepherd known for his stubborn skepticism, who, in the early 20th century, dared to spend a stormy night near the notorious Hound Tor, dismissing the local warnings as old wives' tales. The wind howled like a banshee, tearing at his makeshift shelter, and the rain lashed down, turning the ground to a viscous mud. He spoke of the distinct smell of ozone mixed with something acrid and primal, like burnt flesh and damp earth, that began to permeate the air within his small, claustrophobic tent. As the night deepened, he heard no barks, no growls, but rather a sound like heavy, measured breathing just outside his canvas, deep and resonant, interspersed with the faint, almost rhythmic thump-thump of something huge circling his tent. The air inside the tent grew impossibly cold, stealing the breath from his lungs, and he felt an invisible pressure pressing down on the canvas, pushing it closer and closer to his face, as if a colossal, unseen weight was settling upon it. Thomas, paralyzed by a primal terror, could feel the heat radiating from his own body being drawn away, leaving him shivering uncontrollably, his teeth chattering so violently he thought they would shatter. He described the suffocating sensation of being watched by unseen eyes, their gaze burning into his very soul, filled with an ancient, implacable fury. He felt a searing pain, like 1,000 needle pricks across his skin, as if unseen claws were raking his flesh, though no visible wounds appeared. As dawn finally broke, painting the sky with streaks of blood orange and deep violet, the oppressive cold receded, the strange scents dissipated, and the phantom breathing and rhythmic thumping ceased. Thomas emerged from his tent, his face ashen, his hair streaked with white despite his youth, and he carried an indescribable aura of profound, soul-deep dread that never left him. He could no longer bear to look at the Moors, claiming that the very sight of them sent shivers of ice through his veins, for he had felt the unholy breath of their unseen guardians, tasted the ancient wrath of the land's primal protectors. His story serves as a stark reminder that some landscapes are not merely geographical features, but living, breathing entities, imbued with a powerful, often vengeful, spirit, fiercely guarded by spectral entities that enforce the land's ancient laws, forever a silent, terrifying warning etched into the very fabric of the British Isles' wild heart. Finally, we journey to a place where the physical and spiritual realms are said to converge, a mythical island that has captured the imagination for millennia, blurring the lines between legend, history, and profound spiritual energy. Let us now explore Glastonbury's veiled heart, a crossroads of worlds, a narrative steeped in the mysticism surrounding Glastonbury Tor in Somerset, England, a conical hill crowned by the ruined St. Michael's Tower, a landmark visible for miles across the flat Somerset levels. This isn't just a hill, it's widely regarded as one of the most sacred and energetically potent sites in the world, a place where ley lines intersect, where the legendary King Arthur may rest, and where the ancient mythical island of Avalon is believed to reside, hidden by mists or a shift in dimensional reality. Imagine ascending the winding path of the Tor, the wind whipping around you, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant salt marshes. As you climb, you feel a distinct shift in the atmosphere, a deepening quietude punctuated by the calls of unseen birds, and a palpable sense of ancient presence that hums beneath your feet, vibrating in the very air, a sensation that leaves a tingle on your skin and a profound sense of awe in your heart. The view from the top is breathtaking, stretching endlessly in all directions. But it's not merely the physical vista that captivates. It's the sense of being at the very heart of something vast and timeless, a place where the veil between worlds is extraordinarily thin, allowing glimpses of what lies beyond. Glastonbury Tor has been a spiritual magnet for countless ages, drawing pilgrims, mystics, and seekers from across the globe. Pre-Christian traditions link it to the Celtic underworld, the land of the dead, and the realm of the Fae. The goddess tradition identifies it as a sacred site of the Great Mother, a place of feminine power and creation. With the advent of Christianity, it became associated with Joseph of Arimathea, who is said to have brought the Holy Grail to Glastonbury, planting his staff into the ground, from which the miraculous Glastonbury thorn tree reputedly grew, blooming twice a year, once at Christmas. The convergence of these powerful narratives, Celtic myth, Arthurian legend, and Christian lore, creates an incredibly rich tapestry of belief, each layer reinforcing the Tor's status as a unique spiritual vortex, a place where the mundane world truly gives way to the miraculous. Local anecdotes abound of unexplained phenomena, strange lights seen hovering around the Tor at night, disembodied voices carried on the wind, sudden changes in weather patterns specifically over the hill, and a pervasive sense of timelessness that affects those who spend too long within its aura. Many speak of lucid dreams and profound spiritual experiences occurring after visiting the Tor, as if the very energy of the place opens pathways in the mind, allowing access to deeper truths or even repressed memories from past lives. Consider the detailed account of a contemporary artist, Evelyn Maeve, who, drawn by the Tor's mystical reputation, spent several weeks camping at its base, hoping to capture its elusive essence in her art. She described the deep, resonant hum that would sometimes rise from the earth, particularly after a rain, a sound she swore was like the deep, ancient breathing of the planet itself. One misty morning, as she ascended the winding path, the fog grew so thick that the world around her dissolved into an ethereal white. The ruined tower at the summit seemed to float in the air, detached from the earth, and the faint, sweet scent of apple blossom, though out of season, filled the air around her, a scent that is said to herald the presence of Avalon. Evelyn recounted feeling an overwhelming sense of being observed, not by an individual, but by an assembly of ancient, benevolent presences, a collective consciousness that emanated profound wisdom and sorrow. She felt a touch on her hand, a sensation both warm and cool, like sunlight on wet moss, and when she looked down, she saw a faint, shimmering outline of a hand, translucent and ephemeral, resting gently over hers. It was there for only a second, leaving behind not fear, but a profound sense of peace and belonging, as if she had been momentarily welcomed into a hidden, ancient community that existed just beyond the veil. This encounter changed Evelyn's life forever. She no longer painted landscapes. Her art became an exploration of the unseen, filled with swirling mists, ethereal figures, and subtle shifts in reality, each piece echoing the profound mystery she had encountered. She spoke of how the tour had opened her eyes, showing her that reality was far more malleable and multi-layered than she had ever conceived, that ancient wisdom and mythical realms were not merely stories, but vibrant, living truths that merely lay hidden from plain sight. The Glastonbury Tour, with its enduring legends and palpable spiritual energy, stands as a testament to the persistent human longing for meaning beyond the material, a beacon of ancient power that continues to draw seekers to its veiled heart. It reminds us that the British Isles are not just islands of stone and soil, but living tapestries woven from myth and memory, where the old god's wrath, the echoes of forgotten rituals, and the watchful presence of unseen wardens are not just tales for children, but fundamental forces that shape the very air we breathe and the earth we walk upon, inviting us to question, always, what truly lies just beyond the edges of our perception in the shadows of these ancient lands. Have you ever felt that unseen presence, that undeniable pull of ancient power? Perhaps now you will feel it in every rustle of the wind, in every creak of old wood, and in the quiet of your own mind, as the British Isles continue to whisper their timeless, terrifying secrets.